I think we're on live.
Yes, we are live right now.
I think I said, I think.
Okay, we'll see if we're live.
We'll just get some people to let us know that they're there.
No problem. So in case you have joined us now, this is a live special presentation with Colette Normandeau. So we'll wait a few minutes in order to let people come in to this very special presentation, this impromptu event. So I cannot see if people are joining us, but Colette, do you see anyone?
I'm still getting the technical online.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I think we are. Should be coming on about now.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away.
Thought the Beatles was appropriate for.
Yes, well, when was it that you started getting interested in NLP and all those things? But it seems like it was yesterday.
Yesterday. Hold on a second here. So if anybody is out there seeing us right now, please let us know. Do us a little hello, I'm here. So yes, we are on. All right.
Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. I believe people are joining us. And I am with Colette Normandeau. This is a very, very special presentation. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste. So, Paul, we have Kamna, we have Bill, we have Lynn, we have Lamia from Morocco, Bill from Western Canada, Kamna from London, UK. So we're already having people coming on from around the world. I'm really excited to have this talk
Wonderful, with you. Wonderful. And I cannot see who's joining us, but definitely I want to say hi to everyone. I'm currently in Canada and Colette is also in Canada. This is a totally impromptu presentation and it's going to be great because we're going to take it as it is. We're going to make the best of what we can right now in the current pandemic situation. We are secluded, but we are one.
Yes, we're one. And we're coming together now.
Yes. So this is a special live interview with Colette Normandeau. So Colette Normandeau, welcome again to the show. And for those of you who don't know you, Colette, I just want to say a few words. You are an international trainer, NLP trainer, and more, a little bit beyond that, because we'll talk about your personal story, but you've come a long way since you first started your personal journey into personal transformation and coaching and all those things. So maybe I'll let you speak about that. How about that?
How about that?
Yes. How did you start your journey yesterday? How was yesterday before you started your NLP journey?
Let's just say there's events in our life that have us press on the restart button and want us to restart fresh our life. And that is something that happened to me many years ago. And some people might be saying that we're having that restart button right now, what we're going through with the pandemic. But there was this moment in my life where I said, there's more that wants to grow through me. And I kept hearing about NLP. I was in my university courses and human resources courses, and I heard about NLP. I was studying creativity, and I kept hearing creativity. I kept hearing NLP, and I was like, what the heck is this NLP thing? And somebody one day gave me a book called Awaken the Giant Within. That we all know from Tony Robbins. Yes, from Tony Robbins. And that book was like the starting point. So I said, okay, this is too many times that NLP's been ringing my doorbell and I'm finally going to answer. And so not too long after that, I was in a university course and someone says, oh, do you know NLP? And I said, okay, everybody's talking about NLP. And that was over 20 years ago. And he says, well, we have a training starting this weekend. And I went to my first training in 2001. And I was with Joanne Rioux And when I met this lady, it was like meeting a soul sister. And I felt that everything that she was sharing resonated deeply within me. And I was really passionate about creativity. So I started to look into what's going on in the world on the creativity level. And the name of Robert Dilts popped up. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I just heard about him in my NLP course. So it was a coincidence in a way that two passions of mine, which was self-development and studying creativity and bringing more creativity in the world, came together. And that started my journey. And I was automatically inspired by what Robert Dilts was creating and sharing in the world. So I asked Miss Joanne Rioux to interview him on creativity. And I just fell on the questions I asked him, and that was March 8th, 2004. And I met this guy. He didn't know me. I had just done a few days of training in NLP, and I was just passionate about creativity and working with teams and organizations and leaders. And he gave me that 30-minute interview, and I was asking him questions and how are you creative, and what happens when you're creative, and what happens right before you're creative, and asking him all these questions. And he says, you know, you're doing NLP right now, eh? You're doing modeling. I said, what's modeling? I don't know. I've only had 3 days of training in NLP. And I guess the story started there with Robert, and it ignited more passion and interest in the field of NLP. So
we are, just for those who are joining us maybe for the first time, again, I'm talking with Colette Normandeau. You are an international NLP trainer. You're also the founder and directrice, the director of your own school, L'Essentiel. This is a Canadian school, but international in vocation, right?
yes. So since I was so passionate about NLP, became a coach in 2005, 2006, became a trainer a few years later, and then a master trainer with Robert in NLPU in California. After training in many schools, I realized that I wanted to put my essence, my soul, my heart into the delivery of NLP. So I started L'Essentiel. And for those who don't know what L'Essentiel is, in French, it's coming back to essence, coming back to the core, coming back to what is most important, coming back to the heart and the love. So
is that an allusion to Saint-Exupéry, the French writer? You know, the essential stuff is really truly invisible to the naked eye, but it's deeper, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
So actually, Paul, you're making me realize that this is actually the 5th year anniversary.
Really?
Actually, this month, in a few days, on May 5th, it's going to be the 5th year anniversary of L'Essentiel in Quebec City. So
wow, amazing, amazing. So this will be a special presentation also, like we could say it's a special anniversary presentation, or maybe there will be a few more, because there's a special event that's coming very soon, and you don't want to miss this event. It's an amazing event. We'll talk about it, but let's come back a little bit to you. Your school, you say the essential, l'essentiel, the what really matters, what's really significant, important, what has true value. The NLP you are teaching is not just the classical, and although you teach it, it's a little bit beyond that. There's been the first generation NLP, the second generation NLP, the third generation NLP, and of course the wonderful work of Robert Dilts. We'll talk about it a little bit more today. And but now we're into the 4th generation, and I think that you're one of the co-generators or co-creators of that new NLP model.
Actually, it's something that was that came to me as a vision, an inspiration to start this movement, a worldwide movement where we would create this generation together. So I was in NLPU in 2016, and the field there is just magnificent. The field that Robert creates is incredible, and with Judith Lozier. And I had this moment, like an epiphany, that just came, and it says, it's so important that this next generation we created together. And as an NLP collective, we have to heal our own field so that we can be even more effective and congruent and support the world in their transformation.
So in a way, NLP is always enriched by co-creators like you, and you're like going a little bit deeper here.
Yes, we're creating cells around the world that will be helping to create this level together. And the level that it touches, as you were mentioning, first generation was maybe more cognitive. Second generation of NLP in the 80s was more somatic and emotional intelligence. Third generation, brought about by Robert, was in the 90s, was more on social intelligence, relational intelligence. So this fourth generation is spiritual intelligence. So yes, my courses that I do train, I do train classical NLP, but it's always infused with that sort of little extra something that is fourth generation content.
Yes, that extra little something, this I know not what, which is so mysterious. I mean, it's related to the heart, really. It's not just talking about NLP and beautiful concepts and ideas and remaining at a very dry cognitive level, linear thinking, but it's really about embodying those strategies or truths or visions or inspirations. And it's really about communicating at the heart level. The idea being, to allude to Robert Dilts' work, the idea is to create a world in which we are proud, in which we are proud to belong in that world. Tell us a little bit about that vision.
Robert's vision or my vision?
Well, his vision and also yours. I think he inspired you, but definitely.
Yes, definitely
tell
did.
us about yours.
For me, it's a world a world that I want to belong to. As Robert coins it, is creating a world that we all want to belong to. Well, the world I want to belong to is a world that is connected, a world that is united, a world where we connect through the heart and the soul, and we can embrace our differences and honor what is the same within us. It's seeing the sacredness in life, sacredness in all these opportunities, all these moments that we have together. Like this is a special moment, and when we call this a special live interview, for me, I thought it was so special because I was having it with you, Paul, and I think I haven't introduced you to the collective or the people that are watching now. Paul has been a friend of mine for the past 20, I was going to say 20 years. Well, maybe there's more.
Who knows? Maybe there's always something beyond our cognitive understanding, right? We've seen each other in a past life. Definitely.
Yeah, probably, but at least 12 years. And I was so excited that you accepted to do this interview because it's coming, bringing you out of behind the curtain. Usually you're behind the curtain, now you're in front of the curtain.
In front of the curtain.
And you are such an amazing interpreter and translator and friend, and you're truly connected, and you do embody everything that Robert teaches and that we've been teaching in NLP. So for me, it was special to be here with you and being interviewed with you. So everybody that doesn't know Paul, he's a great guy, and you'll have the opportunity to hear him if you're on the French channel next week on the program that we're going to be delivering with Robert Dilts.
Thank you for your kind words. The only thing I would say is that, one is as we always rest on the shoulders of giants. And I've had the great privilege of meeting people like you. And I can truly say this honestly, I've met as an interpreter, and also I did a lot of training, by the way. I did some NLP training and all sorts of coaching training. That's a different story. But I've been around some of the top names in the industry and the coaching self-development industry. And a lot of people are brilliant, but not everyone is really connected at the heart level. And I would say you are one of those leaders, and Robert, absolutely, he's our mentor. He's a brilliant person, of course. I mean, he's the guy that wrote the encyclopedia. He's doing like Diderot, and he's, doing an encyclopedia. I mean, I don't know a lot of people who wrote encyclopedias, but he wrote the encyclopedia of NLP, and he's a genius, but he's also at the heart level such a great human being and a friend, of course. And so, for me, it's all being around amazing people. And we'll have the opportunity for those of us who will be there very soon to be around great people like you, like Robert, and a lot of amazing people. So great coaches, a beautiful community that is being built right now. So Colette, let's go back, if you want, to Robert, because I think that's where we left in your personal history. And actually, we've talked about Robert this and that. Actually, yes, Robert is a genius. He's a great thinker. It's hard to describe such a man. A very humble guy, very humble and very sincere. He wrote, actually, I just picked up a few books from my collection, Next Generation Entrepreneurs. He's the one that modeled a lot of geniuses. This is Strategies of Genius. Like one of the great thinkers of our era, really, in the field of self-development. And he, by modeling, what do we mean, Colette, modeling, for those who are not certain what it means?
Those who aren't familiar with modeling, well, it's studying excellence. It's studying the art of bringing out the best of yourself. We can model anything. We can help model behaviors. We can model strategies. So Robert took the opportunity to model the genius of entrepreneurs and great thinkers, how they came about to awaken their own creativity and inner genius. So he studied them, and when we study or model someone, we look at everything, their behaviors, their belief system, what they go through to achieve whatever it is we're studying. So in this case, it's creativity. How does Walt Disney spark creativity or awaken creativity in him? And from that, once you have had a certain idea of how that creativity emerges, well, Robert has the talent and the genius to create models from it, models that can be accessible by everyone. So if you use that model or process, you can also awaken within you your own genius or creativity or whatever you are modeling.
Your own giant, yes.
Your own giant within.
Yes,
yeah.
Maybe somebody will model you one day, and maybe you can model Robert. Think this, By the way, Robert also wrote, I don't know if you can read this, but this is Roots of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, because the base of all this great work is neuro-linguistic programming. But of course, it is such a complex, such a rich, such a wealth. It's really a body of knowledge and practices and skills, and it's hard to define, actually. I'm going to ask again the question for the thousand, I've been asking this question all the time. What is NLP? But this is one of the classical books, it's become a collector's item. Also, Robert has done a lot of work about visionary leadership skills, something very important for the one of the topics, I think, for the conference that's coming up very soon. And also another classical, changing beliefs with NLP. That's a belief work. When those things have become mainstream, actually, but a lot of work around beliefs, is so important, because it's not enough to just have an idea. Okay, I want to achieve this goal. Even modeling, modeling at a superficial level, it's like, okay, I see a role model, I'm going to imitate him, and it's all in the mind. But unless you change something at different levels, unless you change your beliefs, your whole belief system, it's going to be hard to achieve your goals.
And I think it's especially important at this time that we're going through now to review some of those beliefs, to have us awaken the generative leader within. We're going to have to work those beliefs that are hindering or blocking us, like, I can't do this, or what are they going to say, or what's going to happen, or I don't know, or I'm not sure, or... So I think this is time calling us to review what is most important. So Paul, you don't know this, but I keep seeing all the people that are coming on, and we see people from China, or I think it's Korea that's coming in.
Korea, beautiful Korea.
We have Catherine who says hello, bonjour Paul, c'est chouette de vous voir réunis. Paul, c'est être extraordinaire, traducteur. So we have Catherine says hello, many friends. I'm sorry.
And by the way, Catherine, if I may say something, she is such a beautiful being. She also embodies NLP at the heart level. It's not just ideas. It's not just the marketing and business and money side of things, which unfortunately is prevalent in the, the so-called personal development industry. We don't see it like that. And Catherine is such a beautiful, beautiful lady. And I hope she will join us. She will?
I hope she will. I know this
spirit, at least.
She shared a wonderful inspiration on how Robert has impacted her life. So if people want to go see her testimony, you can go on L'Essentiel's page. And we've also shared it on LinkedIn and a few other spaces. So you'll get to hear and see Catherine, who has also benefited of many trainings with Robert.
So again, for those of you joining us, welcome. And I cannot see you all, but you're most welcome here. And we hope you like this impromptu interview. It was not planned, like the pandemic was not planned, but we did our best. And actually, we'll talk about what we did. And I think you did something amazing. I think you're doing something better with the pandemic now. And instead of having an excuse in order not to do something, you actually did something better. I personally believe that those watching this have a great opportunity to have an amazing experience. That's unheard of, I think. Stay tuned, as they say. So let's come back to Robert. On a more personal level, who is Robert to you? Robert Dilts.
I'd say a soul brother. When I was 11, I had a dream and he was in it. So when I met him in 2004, it was like I was struck by meeting him. It was like reconnecting with an old friend, a brother, and it was like life prepared me to meet him, because when I was 11 years old, I was in a small country town in Manitoba, and Robert Dilts was no far from that field. But it just came to me. I get these visions and they're very vivid. I see them clearly, and then life just sets the path for it to happen. So I was actually surprised when I met him in 2004, and I said, this is the guy I met. And life has continued to unfold since then, and I have the opportunity to be on his own personal leadership team for SFM, and supporting him in sparking the world with success factor modeling. And actually, people that are going to be joining the Generative Leadership program next week will have a taste of SFM, because this is where he's modeled successful leaders and businesses and entrepreneurs. And that's what he's going to be sharing with us next week, as of next week.
Yes, let's talk a little bit about leadership. It seems that the world right now, and it's a very, some would say crazy situation. Some would say it's like chaos. Some would say there's opportunity. You know, when there's danger, some people see also an opportunity for change, for perhaps creating a different world, a better world. So what is leadership to you in view of that? And what is more specifically generative leadership to you? And why is it important at this time?
So leadership is going first. A leader is somebody that is opening the way, and influencing through his words and his actions. A leader is someone who's gotten who's connected with the courage within to go forward, and he's committed to something that he believes in, being truly important. And he has this ability. A leader also unites people around this vision, around what he believes in. And the leadership that we're looking into now is more conscious leadership, so that it's not just my ideas, but it's something, what is the collective calling for right now? What is the need of the system right now? So we're going toward more conscious leadership, conscious of our impacts, not just on ourselves, not just on the relationships, but also on Mother Earth, on nature, on the whole system. So we're connecting with a greater piece of the whole one. And that's the type of leadership that's coming forward. And when we talk about generative leadership, I love that word. Some people say, what does generativity mean? I just love that word. In the word generativity, we could easily associate it to creativity, but it's much more than that. So it's not just creative leadership, but it's generative. Actually, if we go back to when this word came about, it was in the 50s with Erik Erikson, and he was talking about levels of how we self-realize ourselves, self-actualization. Is that the word?
Self-actualization, yes.
I'm going to ask my interpreter to interpret live.
Maslow also and other thinkers.
Yes, and
talk about this self-actualization or self-realization or fulfillment.
So Erikson was talking about generativity. He says you get to this space, to this moment in your time where you want to look on to other generations. What are you leaving on to other generations? How can you care for others? So generativity is also caring for the collective, and it's seeing how my impacts today will influence or impact the future generations in society. So in the word generativity, there's the source root word of gen that we find in genes, that we find
Genesis,
Genesis,
the new birth.
the birth. So generativity is actually birthing something. It's bringing something to life. So generative leadership is what is the life that wants to come through you. And we also see gen in genius,
Yes.
and in generosity. So I love how the root word genuine, and genius.
Authentic, yes.
So what's the genius, genuine generosity that you want to bring forth, that wants to come through you, and that you want to leave for future generations? And that's what's called now. I think what's happening with the pandemic, yeah, you were mentioning it's crisis, or we can see a danger, or we can see an opportunity. We've all lived through the emotions that this has created for us. We're all at different levels or different steps in that, how we live with this pandemic. I think we're starting to go into our sort of acceptance phase. And what comes after an acceptance phase? We can't do things we did like we did before. And a leader is not someone who always does things like it was done before. A leader is someone that opens a new path. So he's going towards something that doesn't exist, and he has to awaken that generativity and that creativity within himself to support that change that has to come about. But we don't know what it's going to be.
So there's also another resource like faith. I mean, really believing that you can do it, that you must do it, that this needs to be done, and that you are the right person to do it, and then you can get the skills and learn and grow and become the new person you need to become in order to live in that reality.
So there's a lot of faith and a lot of courage. We have to wake up that audacity and say yes to what wants to come out of us, what wants to come through us.
You know, in a way, it's about being a pioneer.
Yes. So, Robert, sorry, I'm calling you Robert. I guess you're channeling him right now. Paul, I'm reminded of creativity. There was this talk about, I don't know if you listen to TED Talks, or there was a TED Talk on creativity, and it was the one who wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, yes, the movie and the book.
The movie and the book. I think Melissa Gilbert, I think it's her name.
Melissa, something like that. I can't remember the name now, but somebody may, by the way, people are watching this, they can interact, they can actually give us the answer. That would be nice.
Yes, if someone has the name of the author of Eat, Pray, Love, that would be very nice of you to share with us, because I wanted to mention that she did a TED Talk on creativity, and it was really beautiful. If you want to go type it up and look it over. And she was having the request to do another bestseller after Eat, Pray, Love. They said, well, can you write another one? Can you write another one?
It was Gilbert. It was Gilbert, I think.
It was Gilbert.
Elizabeth, or yes.
Elizabeth Gilbert?
Something like that.
I think Melissa Gilbert was in Little House on the Prairie.
Yes, she was the actress, the young, yes, because we're talking about the pioneers, everything is connected, right?
Yes. So she was mentioning in her study of creativity that it brought her back to the origins of creativity. And in ancient Greece, they thought that creativity was not something that came from the human side, but was more divine. And it was the gods that would, there was like a genius that would come, a genie that would come through you. And he would have you bring something into the world. And she said that since that time, the human side, Elizabeth Gilbert. So I have someone who's writing me the name. It's Elizabeth Gilbert. So she said then the ego, or the human ego, wanted to, how do you say, s'approprier.
To get an ownership on
to
get
own,
hold of. Yes.
to hold that creative power, saying that it didn't come from beyond
Yes.
or from somewhere else or from a genie, it came from within. So there's sort of an evolution of the history of creativity. For me, creativity, whether it comes from within or without, I think it comes in all directions.
Yes.
It's when we're connected to ourselves,
Yes. And
we're connected to our truth.
I think Robert likes to talk about the fact that when he modeled geniuses and great men or women or great leaders, he realized that they were great, not so much in terms of their skills, and of course they were brilliant people, but they had this strange capacity to go beyond themselves. And if you read biographies, for example, of the great Mozart, which Robert has modeled, by the way, you see that they all seem to say that it comes from somewhere. Inspiration comes like the wind, they say. It's not them composing. It's not really Mozart, even though you see Mozart's signature on the score. It's this, again, I know not what, this mysterious inspiration that comes from the field or from somewhere. Can you tell us a little bit about the field?
The field.
Yes, because I think yeah.
So it's not the field that's outside that has green grass. The field is this this space, this energy that we create when we're together, and it holds information, it holds energy, it holds emotion, and we connect to different fields. In French, there's a word called egregore. How could we?
It's an old term. It means that it's like some type of synergy of spirits. Like when kindred spirits meet together, there's like a third being which encompasses both, which is generated. I mean, this is a simplistic definition, but this idea of synergy is very important in this generativity.
Because we create that field and that synergy together. When we come together, what becomes possible through that field. I know I've been working in organizations for 19 years, and you look at different teams and organizations, and there's not the same energy or feel in one group and in another. So you can have one group who they're all in supporting each other, and they're having a lot of humor and tenderness and strength, and then you have another one who is maybe struggling more. And there's another type of energy or field that is created in that organization, and it's supported by all the belief systems beliefs that people are having. And if we think that it's hard, if we think that this is awful, I don't like these people, I don't like what's going on, well, we're all contributing to creating that field. And yes. I think that's one thing about generative leadership, and the intention of the program is that people realize that it doesn't matter, you don't have to be a leader of an organization. We're not talking about hierarchy here. As a leader is, what are you putting into the system? What are you bringing forth through you? And you bring that through your ideas, you bring that through your behaviors, through your actions, through your thought patterns, through your beliefs. So your energy will contaminate in whatever system you are in. And if you always keep nourishing the fear and what's not going forward, the fear and what you don't want, well, you attract more of you may attract what you don't want.
Yeah.
I have someone who's asking, is field like the aura? Well, we could.
We could say there's different fields, but I mean, for those of you listening, this is very important. Robert Dilts does a lot of serious work with a lot of companies. He's worked with top CEOs. He's worked for Apple. He's coached and mentored many top business leaders in the world. So this is not woo-woo type stuff. This is not just, but this is real knowledge. And actually, there's this discovery of mirror neurons, which tell us that there's more than just whatever we see. There's a certain field of intelligence that is created when we interact. It could be more than that, but it's actually the best way to know more about this is to attend the conference and ask the question directly to Robert. He can tell us, I can speak about this way better than I can do, and he's the specialist on this topic. But I think it taps in the very notion of generativity, how we can work together and not just work for ourselves. Because I think a lot of people, they have a job, they have a routine, they have a day-to-day type of life of misery, as some people would say. And somehow there's nothing beyond that. There's nothing, it's as if they're not participating in something that is more beautiful because it goes beyond their little life, their little ego. And a lot of people want to participate there, not just individually, but also a lot of organizations. They want to facilitate this creation of a new world. We don't know what this new world will look like, but it will be whatever we create, either consciously or unconsciously. And so the work of Robert Dilts is amazing because you can apply to so many different things individually, but also in your business as a leader and as a leader of yourself, because there's communication, inter-communication, but there's also intra-communication, how you communicate with yourself. Are you your worst enemy or your best friend towards the achievement of your goals that are going to lead you to fulfillment? That's a good question. And so I would like to know, Colette, please tell us a little bit about the program that's coming ahead, about what was planned for and what happened due to the pandemic.
So actually, I had asked Robert many years ago. As you know, he's really, really, really busy. And I had asked him
really busy.
many years ago. I said, actually, when I started the school, I said, wouldn't it be great to have you for the 50th anniversary of L'Essentiel? And that happens to be May 2020. So we had already booked the dates. And then last year, actually, at this specific moment, 1 year ago, we started to say, well, what would be the topic? What do you want me to do? And Robert says, Colette, I'm giving you carte blanche. So I said, well, then I started to think, well, where are we going to be in a year? What is the system going to need from Robert in a year? What is the calling? What is out there? And I know Robert always uses this metaphor, and it's interesting because he says you have to awaken the leader within. You have to awaken. It's like the bat. A bat has a radar, and he can sense really, really far, 100 kilometers away, his food and his nourishment. And he says, instead of being like a frog, which waits for food to be right in front of its nose to feed itself, the bat will have this radar or sonar that can sense where he needs to go. So I was awakening the bat. That may not be a good metaphor at this time with the coronavirus and everything that has come about.
I'm not sure about that.
But anyways.
I don't know about that, but.
I was sensing that the calling in a year, and not knowing that there would have been a pandemic, was awakening more generative leadership and more creativity and consciousness and collective transformation. So that topic came again through me a year ago. And so when we've been planning it all year, it was planned for the 7th, 8th, and 9th here in Quebec City, and we're attracting people from all over the world to come and live this experience with Robert in Quebec City. And well, a bit more about 5 weeks ago, the pandemic arrived in Quebec City, and it says, no, we're confined and we can't travel. Okay, what do we do?
So the first option was to cancel everything, obviously, you know. It's
of course, and
good excuse.
We're going to delay. We're going to wait a few weeks or a few months, maybe in September. We'll do it in September, and then maybe we should wait a bit more. Maybe we can go on till next February. Maybe we'll wait a year. And every time we were trying to set dates, which was a challenge in itself, something just didn't click. And then it's, yeah, but this is the time we need this type of leadership. It's not in a year, it's now, and the leader is the one that goes first. So we have to help those people in the system that are the ones who are opening new paths for others. We have to support them in developing their own abilities as a generative leader.
It's like it's like you realized that now more than ever was the time to tap in the resources of people, you know, that we needed new leaders for the next generation, for what was coming ahead.
Yes, because we can go in every direction possible. When we're in a panic, what happens? We're struggling to survive, and we can go into a panic mode and do anything. And that the type of leadership we want? We would be recreating the past. We want to create a new world. And for that, it's important to help those leaders solidify and anchor. And we want to bring roots to that generative leadership. So it was time now. So with Robert, we discussed on doing a virtual version of the program. And that virtual version, well, at first, I am the first to say I am not an adept. How do you say?
You don't like, let's say, you're not fond
Yes.
of those long conferences through video.
No, because I'm always a live person. I love people. I like to be with people. I like to touch, and so I said, well, no, how it won't give as much. We won't get as much of the magic of Robert if we can't feel the energy. So I've started actually in my own school experimenting with the, well, experimenting. I shouldn't call it experimenting, but adapting and stretching myself to do virtual. And you know what? My own belief system was shattered. And I started to realize that you can make the magic through virtual. So talking with Robert, I said, we're going to go forward and we're going to chunk this program. We're not going to do it as an intensive 3 days because that for me personally was not ecological to do 3 intense days. So we decided to chunk it in 3 blocks. In May, we have 2 afternoons next week. And then in July, we have another 2 afternoons, the 9th and 10th. And then in September, the 3rd and 4th. But that wasn't enough for me. I said, I think I've been living so many emotions as a director and an entrepreneur and as a leader. And I would not have made it through the past month if it wasn't for the collective that was around me, if it wasn't for the people that were supporting me. So that's friends, that's clients, that's partners. So then I said, well, to help support the generative leaders, we have to create a support system. So we added masterminds and we also added individual coaching. So this is the new enhanced version of the program that can really help us hone our skills as a generative leader, anchor it within us, and we can get the support of other people that are going through the same thing as us, but collectively we will make it through. So,
Colette, I mean, NLP and the field that you've been studying and practicing and teaching now as a trainer for many, many years, includes all sorts of different tools and resources. One of them is reframes. And this is one of the most beautiful examples of a reframe where you have a pandemic, a world pandemic, of historic proportions. We don't know what's going to happen. And you have all the reasons in the world to cancel everything, to cancel the amazing 3-day event that we were going to have with Robert, and to say, no, let's make something different. Let's adapt, but even more, let's do something better. And if I may add my personal point of view on this, you know that I've participated and attended so many hundreds and hundreds of trainings that I attended in. And I can say that this value proposition of yours is amazing. It's unheard of. Because normally, yes, you go to a 3-day seminar, it's very intense, it's great, amazing. But what you're offering in a way is much better. And I think the value at the price you're offering it is absolutely amazing and unheard of. If you haven't availed yourself, those listening right now, of this opportunity, I can't believe it, because really, especially if you're a coach, if you are someone, an entrepreneur, if you're a leader, if you want to become a leader, if you want to improve your life, this is an amazing opportunity, because now you have the training and it's over time. So you can go deeper in a way. You have time to assimilate. You have time to digest the information, apply it to your life, see what works, see what doesn't work, and do those small adjustments. And then you have some coaching on top of that. And then you have mentoring sessions. And then you have a community which is being built. And if people want, we are actually creating a movement to change the world and bring about a new paradigm where we can actually have several leaders trained specifically in generative coaching, generative leadership. I think that's amazing. Really, it's really amazing, and it's thanks to you, Colette. Really, it's an amazing training. It's very different from all the other trainings, and I think that this will be unique, and those who participate, those who attend, won't regret it.
You know, there's something that I take away every time I go to NLPU when I work with Robert, and it's the community that makes the difference. And when you connect with people that are from around the world,
Yes.
and you get to see how they're going through very similar things that you're going through, it makes the world much smaller.
Yes.
And when we see the world and much smaller, it makes things more achievable. We can work together. We can work it out. We can create that world that we want to belong to. So it was really important for me to give those opportunities for people to connect from different walks of life. People, some of them are people that are supporting organizations. Some are in organizations. There are many coaches, people that are no NLP. Some people have no NLP. So there's many different people that will be there. We have people from Europe. We have people from South America. We have people from Guadeloupe. We have people from Quebec, Switzerland, UK, France, Spain. So it's really, for me, that just excites me to see people coming together and seeing them, what they're going to create. That's what excites me.
This blows me personally, because blows me away, because this is like the next generation of training. It's not just you go to a seminar, you learn something, you try to write some notes, and that's it. Voila, it's over, and tough luck. You know, you have the same training, but it's chunked down. You know, it's spread out and throughout several weeks. And between the virtual seminar, you have, again, coaching, you have different possibilities. We'll learn as we go, because of course this is a special pandemic situation, and this is a new model, a new way to teach, a new way to learn for everyone. I think everybody that will be involved, and it's really all sometimes the in-betweens. You know, it's not just
Yes.
it's like university, or, you know, again, as I said, I go to several conferences every year, and sometimes what you learn is between the event. It's through the friendships and everything. And I think through the power of virtual, tools like the computer and the internet. Now, for example, you will have some coaching sessions, and you'll also work with someone that you don't know now, a new friend, maybe a new friend from Korea, maybe a new friend from a different region of the world, and they will give you feedback. Now, that's all included. Of course, everyone's responsible for making their own, reality. But ultimately, it's facilitated through this fantastic program. And I cannot insist enough. And it's soon, by the way. It's starting on the 7th.
On
right?
the 7th, yes. And I have to mention something very important. We have a gift that has been given by another dear friend of mine who is also a member of Robert Dilts' leadership team.
Yes.
Jean-François Thiriet, which is a specialist in masterminding. And he is actually offering his course that is worth 950 euros. He's offering it to all these generative leaders so they can facilitate their own masterminds, so they can create their own collectives around their projects that they're going to be creating through this program. So that is even more.
It's amazing, yes. And as people can see, people, and I have to commend you, Colette, and all your colleagues, as people can see, this is true. We're giving you more. You're getting more value thanks to the pandemic. Actually, we see it as an opportunity. We reframe everything. We see it as an opportunity, and we try to create something not just for us, but through collective intelligence, through generative leadership. We want to create something better for the next generations. We're in Canada, and in Canada, there's Aboriginals living here, and their vision is to always do something thinking about the 7 next generations. 7 being a metaphor, thinking also about the future of the next generations. And so the invitation is there for people to become a better leader. Perhaps you're already a leader, but to see things from a different point of view. Perhaps you know everything, but you just need to remember all the great things that you know and put them into action through some amazing framework that will be provided through this training. And just the mastermind, I mean, how much is a mastermind worth normally? It's included. You know, there's a mastermind course, there's masterminds, there's coaching in between the sessions, the virtual sessions. I think, you know, it's unheard of.
Some people say I'm crazy, but it was a way of giving back also to the collective, because I know a lot of people are going through hardships right now.
Yes.
And we wanted to make it accessible.
Because you made it very affordable. It's usually just the seminars can cost thousands of dollars. This is a ridiculous price. So Colette, maybe somebody from our viewers could ask a question to Colette. Maybe, I don't know.
So I'm seeing we have people from Morocco that have come on, and we have England. Hello, Alan. Nice to see you there.
Hello, England. Hello, Morocco. Bonjour, Marocain.
Yes. So does anybody out there have a question?
Maybe a question for Colette?
Or for Paul, who is so knowledgeable. We are the special in the live here is the Paul. It's the Paul ingredient here.
Oh, and by the way, those watching this special presentation, something else that people forget, but I can tell because you know, this is what I do. You are getting, in a way, for an international event, 50% more content this time. Why? Because there will be translation, but the translation will be invisible. It will be provided only for those that need it. So if you're an English viewer, you will see Robert in English, and you know, you won't lose any content. Usually there's a lot of loss of content when you have interpretation, it's being translated, and then you have to wait. You know, the facilitator says something, you have to wait for the translator. So this time, none of that. And the people that are listening will be able to benefit from, I think, an amazing session that will be, the workflow will be great, really.
So I'm trying to get I'm realizing that we have two channels. We're on two channels right now. So I have people writing on the other channel.
Let me check something here. No, I was trying to fix something, but I was going to, yes, no, I can't see the people who are joining us. But anyway, everyone is welcome. And this is the beauty of it also. Now it's virtual. You don't have to take an airplane. You don't have to book a hotel. You don't have to pay for meals. You can go live from the comfort of your home and watch this great training, virtual training.
So I do have a question here. It says, will these be Zoom sessions, and what kind of technology do we need to participate in this training? So yes, it is Zoom class. It will be a Zoom virtual class. So we will all be together on the same link, and we will have Robert live. So what you need is a computer with a camera and a microphone that is included. It will be hard if you do your session on a little phone, because you won't see all the participants and you won't get the most of it. So I really ask you to have a computer or an iPad at least, so you can see the people. And we will have breakout rooms. So Zoom has this amazing technology where you can go out in a breakout room and you will be working 2 or 3 people together on exercises after you've seen Robert do a demo. And we'll be, all those that are registered, you'll be receiving a very, very detailed way of connecting and how you can optimize this experience that we'll be having on this virtual class. So I have a question also, are the 2 coaching sessions with Robert or with Colette? So the coachings, the masterminds and the coachings are with me and my team. So I have a team of coaches that are supporting me and will be supporting you. So we have Robert for the 18 hours of live virtual training, and the rest will be supported by the team, the L'Essentiel team.
So we are talking about this amazing training program. It's a virtual program, and it's spread through 6 months, and it's it's a better version than the original at a cheaper price, a better value. It's enhanced, masterminds, coaching sessions in between. So you have the time to digest the information again, and you will have time to learn and grow and to apply those things, because the whole idea is not just to learn something, but to apply it. And by the way, for those listening, watching, who don't know the work of Robert Dilts, this is a very holistic program. It's not just about ideas, and it's not motivation. it's really something that looks sometimes like what's happening there, but it's deep, it's profound, and and there will be live examples, and maybe you'll be one of the chosen people that, and then you'll have a coaching with Robert Dilts, because Robert will pick some people sometimes for examples. And so to answer the question, not all the coachings will be facilitated by Robert, but some people will be the lucky ones, and they will be used in examples and models. So maybe you'll have, on top of that, an opportunity of being coached directly, by Robert Dilts, the one and only, the great writer, friend of ours, and amazing trainer, a great human being. And so that's the proposition, which I think is great. It's for 6 months, right, of training?
Yes, we'll be actually, Robert's modules will be completing in September, but the masterminds and coachings will end in October. So it's 6 months. So I have another question here. It says, what if we can't be present for each of the modules? So that's another added bonus. Everyone that participates will have the recorded version. So
Yes.
you can review and you can rewind and you can rehear and you can relive the experience with Robert.
So for all of those who love trainings, who spend thousands and thousands of dollars in trainings, and then you wonder what you learned sometimes because you don't have time to take notes, and you wish you could record the sessions, but you can't. Now is a great opportunity, because on top of that, as Colette said, everything will be recorded, and you'll be able to review things, learn again, digest it, come back to it. This will be your personal virtual library, and you'll be able to refer to it and apply things in your life. And that's amazing. That's really amazing. Colette, another question maybe from someone?
Well, I had another question. I have, in generative leadership, what we can add like resource after coronavirus? Okay, so I'm trying to see what can we add like as a resource after coronavirus? Okay, I'm trying to get a feel for this question. So what type of resources will we need to make it through and go beyond and past the coronavirus? I think maybe that's what we're trying to get here as a question.
Well, if people live in fear, then it's easy to say, well, you should be courageous, you should be bold, and you should believe in yourself. And it, as a motivation, it can work. The problem is, what happens if it doesn't? That's the problem. What happens if somebody's lacking self-confidence to start a new business, or perhaps they are losing their current business now, or they've lost it, or they're about to lose it? And so they will need resources to face the situation. They will need to be bold. They will need to be courageous. They will need to be to think outside of the box. If they're used to doing business in a certain way and everything works well, what happens if their source of supply is not working anymore? What happens if they have no money available anymore? So they will need to become someone else, in this new reality. So resources are things like courage, imagination also. And there are so many other ones. But what I would like to say, Colette, and I think you'll agree with me, it's not just so much what resource can you have. It's really about being. And that's the beauty of Robert Dilts' work, is that you have different logical levels. And it's not just at the level of behavior or at the level of thinking. It's at very deep levels. It's one thing to say, yeah, I'm a courageous person. But to really become one is something different. And Robert will teach you tools. This is not about reading books. This is about becoming someone else, becoming a true leader, seeing how it's possible, how to embody, how to, in NLP, I think Robert loves to say that it has to be in the muscle. It's not just a head thing.
In the cells, and every little cell in the body.
Yes, it's a true transformation. True transformation, and even beyond, because again, you are a whole-on, but you're part of a bigger whole-on, of a field consciousness, field, whether it's society or something more beyond that. And so you have to be able to change, but at different levels, and then apply the resources. It's a deep work. It's hard to talk about it. But there will be practice. This is very important, Colette.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the practice. It's not just a theoretical type of lecture, right?
No, of course, Robert shares his models and his theories, but then he also has us practice, and he presents a demonstration of a model, a process that he's created. And you will see a live transformation. And then he will guide you and have you go and do it with a partner. And that's where we're talking, using the web, the virtual class. People will go out in a breakout room and work 2 by 2, and they will help someone go through the process, and you will also have the opportunity yourself to go through the process. So that's where it goes into the muscle and the cell and the whole being. So you won't be just listening. We'll keep this very active
Yes.
through the whole program.
And if I may say something, Colette, I think we can encourage the people that have decided to join us at the training to do it as soon as possible, so that you'll receive all the information and that you'll be able to prepare yourself. And the invitation may be this one, like whatever question you have, it's maybe a time for you to ask yourself a question, like, what resources do I need in my life? Ask yourself a question, write it down, and so you'll be prepared when you come to the training. In other ways, to have an intention, to be open, of course, to any possibility, to any possible growing, even those that we've not thought about, but to also to come with an objective and questions. So maybe for the person that was asking the question, what resources would be good for me? But we don't know you. So what the question, if we may say it this way, maybe it could be a great opportunity for you to ask yourself the question, what are the resources that I need? What's missing in my life? Do I need more love? Do I need more resilience? Do I need more patience? Do I need more courage? Do I need more, what do I need? And then if you don't know, but at least you started working, and the moment you register, you can consider yourself that you've registered to the training and that the learning process has started. And so definitely come with your question at the training and ask them to Robert.
And I think there's another question also, as a generative leader, what wants to come through me? And what can serve the future generations? What is it that I hold as a human being that nobody else has? How can I honor what is within me and I can contribute? The world will be less perfect if I don't contribute what is within me. So what wants to come through you? And I have another question that has come on. How can I prepare for this? Can I read books? We'll be sending, the people that are registered will be receiving the guide, the manual that you can read on. And you will also receive people asking, do we have a certificate of completion? Yes, you will have a certificate of completion. And people who want to also be honored by IAGC, become a member of IAGC, which is the International Association of Generative Change. This can be reviewed as learning hours, or because once you're a member, you have to do continuous education. Yes. So this will be recognized with IAGC, and it will also support you in becoming a member of IAGC.
Yes, so, you can obviously read a few things, but the idea, this is open to everyone. So you don't need to be an NLP specialist. And it's a great opportunity, because sometimes in the field of NLP, unless you've reached a certain level, you won't have access to the top training. And this is a very important training for now, as we said it, because it's applicable by everyone. Everyone can really tap in this source of knowledge and practices and skills and tips, and you can apply it to your own life, whether you're self-employed, whether you want to improve your happiness, or if you're an entrepreneur, definitely. If you're a business person, if you are a leader of an organization, a not-for-profit, and you want to bring your organization at the next level, this is an ideal training.
So I have somebody who says that they have already lived an experience with Robert on generative leadership. They listened to a webinar that was given with ICF Synergie, and they've read his books, and it said it was extraordinaire, it was extraordinary. So actually, I can let the people speak. All those who have lived an experience with Robert come out of it stronger, more expanded. Your map of the world is expanded. Your belief systems are reviewed. You're refreshed, and you're ready to support this world you want to contribute to and you want to belong.
Colette, could you believe it? We are now past 1 hour of a special impromptu interview with you, Colette Normandeau, Director of L'Essentiel, an NLP, but more also beyond NLP training school in Canada. But you travel around the world. You're an international trainer, and you are very, very, very well versed in the work of Robert Dilts, who will be joining us for a special training, special format at an unbelievable value, because you get the seminar and all sorts of trainings, all sorts of bonuses, mentorship, coaching between the sessions. And this is a long training, which means you have the time to apply what you learned, what you will learn. You can apply it and directly to your own situation, your business, your life, or maybe the business you want to build, the life you want to create for yourself or others. This is the time more than ever to develop, co-develop, and also to develop ourselves as new leaders. And this is an amazing opportunity, Colette. Thank you so much for offering it.
Thank you, Paul. And just a reminder, it's open to everyone. You don't need to have NLP. You don't need to know anything about NLP to be part of this journey of awakening the generative leader within, and having this opportunity to live the program with Robert and connect with the worldwide community of generative leaders. I think the more we work together, the more we'll achieve it.
Let me ask you a question, Colette.
Yes.
Have you become someone different now since the pandemic? Because
Yes.
I remember a time when you said, never, ever will I give a virtual video training. And now I see you, you have a new format, and you've revolutionized somehow the trainings, in a certain way.
Learning to have fun with it. That is, we are adaptive species, and this is a calling to adapt. So those past beliefs and fears are set aside, and okay, let's go forward. And what is the message? What do people need right now? And I think we're so filled with amazing tools through NLP and through what Robert contributes. I think that's what we have to share with the world. So it was a leadership moment, and in leadership moments, there's always challenges, and I think that's what Robert helps us to go through, is how we make it through those challenges. Because we can have the best vision in the world. It can be the most beautiful vision, but it will also we will also meet challenges on the journey to create that vision. So how are we prepared to go through those challenges? And I can just give a personal example. This week, I'm talking about love. I'm talking about connecting. I'm talking about co-creating together. And my office was burglarized. So I said, what the heck? How the heck do I need this? This is not the way I wanted. This is not the vision. And I admit at the moment there was a shock, but then all of a sudden I realized, well, this is part of the journey. We have to be ready for those challenges, whatever challenge comes through. And how do we get back up? Robert talks a lot about resilience. So we will meet challenges on the road to the creation of this vision of this world we want to belong to. How do we prepare? And I think this is a program that will support people in being prepared to get back up.
If I may say one last thing, and this is something that I remember Robert saying, he's repeated this many, many times. He said that in order to change, you need to believe that change is possible and so on. But he always brought back the person asking the question about, can I change or whatever? He always brought back the person to the value of the person that was asking the question. It's not just that change is possible, but that every person has a unique value in this world, a unique proposition. As Wayne Dyer used to say, don't die with the music in you at the end of your life. So this idea is a very powerful one, and that you could put into practice. It's that you, whoever is watching us, you have a value. You can do something. You have a gift. You have a special talent. Maybe you forgot about it. Maybe you have not implemented it enough in this world, but we count on every single human being with their great resources, with their own specific genius, to create a new world, a world that's much better than the old one.
Thank you, Paul, for sharing your own genius. And I'm glad you were in front of the screen this time so that we can hear you and see you and hear what you're here to contribute. So for people who are just joining, Paul will be the interpreter, the amazing interpreter, and I say he channels Robert, so his interpretation is always spot on. And I thank you for embarking in this journey. And actually, the new program is there's a lot of inspiration, which is signed Paul behind it. So I thank you for being that dear friend. Supporting me in this.
Thanks to you, because you inspired us. Okay, we have a beautiful team. We're creating something great, but it's thanks to your inspiration. You were inspired to develop the school, to build the programs and everything, design everything. So hats off to you. And by the way, the program will be in English. So those of you, the Anglophones or the English-speaking people from the UK, from the United States, from everywhere, from Canada, you will be listening to this training in English, but there's also French, and I'll have the honor to do the interpretation into French. And this will be live. We won't lose content. We have 100% of the content, much better than so many different trainings at a great value. In conclusion, Colette, I think we can finish here because this is totally improvised and we are ad-libbing. We hope we are still on point here, but could you, I don't know, connect us somehow to our inner being, or maybe center us to some centering exercise, perhaps?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or do we wait for the training or for another opportunity? Or maybe just an insight, so that we can leave this great moment, this great interview with something to ponder on.
I would invite people to come and set themselves in their heart right now. And when we center in our heart, we can create that space. For me, the foundation of all of life is love. So how can I connect back to that love, the love of the life, love of the breath that comes through me, love of everything that is around, love of humanity. And from that base of love, what can emerge? What wants to emerge? So when you take the time to connect to your heart, connect to your soul, I would invite just what wants to awaken within me right now? And what do I have to honor and let it shine? So if we can imagine ourselves just saying yes to what wants to come through, and we start sharing it, and we can imagine how if I share, you share, he shares, we share together, what's going to create, what's going to come out of that. I'm really excited. So that's where the collective transformation comes from, where we can honor the creativity, honor our being, and honor life, and honor our colleagues, and come together and transform. So that's what, it's a blessing, a centering, call it whatever you want. I think we can finish on that.
Thank you so much, Colette. And thanks to all of those who are joining us here and who joined us for this ad-lib impromptu interview with Colette Normandeau. And we are preparing now for this training that we've talked a lot here about, this special training with Robert Dilts. We'll talk about, Robert will talk about leadership, creativity, consciousness, and how to tap in new resources so that we can awaken the genius in us. Everyone has a genius inside of them. Everyone has amazing skills, and the world needs you. The world needs us as a collective, and we will have a great event, I'm certain, with this wonderful proposition to awaken the generative leadership in all of us.
So thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone that's watching, and hope to see you next week.
Yes, and all the information will be available on your website at l'essentiel, écolepnl.com.
Actually, Robert has a specific address, which is www.dilts, Quebec 2020. So Dilts, DILTS, Quebec, QUEBEC 2020.com. So all the information is there, and you can also register online. And we'll be getting all the information to you on how to make this a beautiful and amazing journey together. So I'm having words. Thank you, Beauty Merges. Thank you for reminding us to reconnect with ourselves, what wants to come through us. We have many messages of gratitude. So thank you to all those that are listening now and those who will listen in the future, because I had a few people saying they couldn't be on this call, but on this Facebook Live, but they will see it after. So
Yes,
thank
this is recorded. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Colette Normandeau. We thank you, Robert, who's probably listening right now, or maybe later this will be recorded. So thank you all, and we really hope to see you soon. Let's keep in touch. Let's create a new world, a world of co-creation with generative intelligence, and a world that's based in our heart also, and so we can create something beautiful together.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.